So this is the 8th video of Java tutorial. So in my previous video we have discussed about the basics of Java, OOPS concepts, and in my just previous session we have just learned about you can say exceptions, the hierarchy of the exceptions, then what kinds of exceptions we have, and then today we will work much more on the exception. Okay, with the different examples, then use of the try catch block, use of the try final block, and then block we will cover. Okay, so let's move with this one. We will start with very basic programs, and then we will move on. So if you have not seen my just previous video, please have a look on this one, and so that it will become easy to understand what I am doing actually here. So first of all, I will cover the arithmetic exception. Okay, so as we all know that there is a two way to handle the exception. Just surround it by the try and catch a block or throw it. So first of all, we will cover the try and catch a block. Okay, because in most of the cases we will use try and catch a block. So suppose that I am saying there is a try. So whenever you will use try, you have to use the catch a block. Okay, so inside this one, okay, so inside the catch you have to write your exception. You can also write your complete exception name like arithmetic exception. If you are thinking that there may appear a arithmetic exception, you can give the proper name. If you don't know that what kind of exception have appear, so you can give it here only the exception word. Okay, not require too much. So let's move on. Just print out this exception. Type control space. Okay, so I am printing the exception like okay. So I will take two integer and I will divide to them, and I will check for the arithmetic exception. So suppose that I will use suppose that first number is 10 int y is equal to 0, and I will print the you can say that int z is equal to x oblique y. Okay, किसी की आवाज क्रैक हो रही है मेरी? कोई ऐसा है जो मेरी आवाज नहीं सुन पा रहा है? मतलब सही है, ठीक है. Okay, so now we are working for the arithmetic. So we will run this one and we will check that arithmetic exception will appear, and we will be able to capture this one using the try and catch block. This one. Okay. So what is the main benefit of using the try and catch block? Suppose that if any code is written here, like I am running. So whether your program have the exception or do not have the exception, so using the try and catch block, the code which is written after the catch block will be executed. Okay, so this is the main benefit of the try and catch block, and this is the example of, you can say, arithmetic exception. Now the second exception I will discuss about the number format, or you can say the null pointer exception. Okay, so always remember, if I am defining a string such a way like string s1 is equal to double quote. Okay, so that means there is a string but space is a 0. So whatever is written inside a double quote, that means it is an string. Okay, so if I will print dot s1 dot length, there is a method to get the string length. In the previous session I have described about this also. So you can say yes, there is a string but the size is 0. Now suppose that I have a string like a string str is equal to null. Okay, that means yes, we are just defined the string name, but actually we have not created the string. Okay, so now in for you can say that null pointer exception, suppose that I am getting the length of this string. Okay, because string is null and I am trying to find out the length of this string. Okay, so what I will get the null pointer exception. So I will change it to null pointer exception. So null pointer exception. So let me run this one. You can say that java.lang dot null pointer exception has been appeared. Okay, so this is the example of null pointer exception. Now number format exception. Okay, this means if you have you can say you are changing your string to integer or integer to string, you will get a number format exception. Suppose that we have a string like string csv. Okay, and now I am converting this string to some integer, so I will get the error. How we can convert? Just use the integer. There is a method known as a parseInt, this one, and here I will pass my s1 string. So here it is an string. I am trying to convert it to the number, so I will get an exception. Okay, and now what the exception will be? Number format exception. And number format exception. So let me run this one. You can get the number format exception for the input string, this one. Okay, so this is an example of number format exception. Means we are trying to convert the string to number. Now let's discuss one more, like array index of bound exception. So suppose that you have created an array like int and array is equal to this way. You can say new int. I'm giving it size as 2, and now I'm trying to access the value of it at the Is anyone else is facing my voice issue? Guys, your internet may have the problem, so please check your connection. Now, so suppose that I am trying to print out the array which is at the third position. Okay, so what will happen actually, because the size is 2, I am trying to access some value at the third position, so it will throw me the array index out of bound exception. Okay, so I will take the same exception as the array index out of. Always remember, there is a camel case, means first letter will be in capital. Array index out of bounds, not bound exception. Okay, so this kind of exception you can check, it will appear. Okay, so these are the basic examples that I have taken for describing the exceptions or different kinds of the exceptions. Now let's discuss about the nested try block. Okay, then we will discuss about the finally block. Okay, then we will discuss about the throw and throws keyword. So what does this mean by the nested, and where we will use it? Basically, suppose that for example I am taking a example of selenium. Okay, so suppose that there is a some element. Okay, some element, suppose that there is a name, there is a one element. Okay, now sometimes it is findable by id, sometimes it is findable by css, sometimes it is findable by you can say the xpath. Okay, but uh, but you can say we cannot use three things at the same line. Okay, otherwise it will throw the error. Okay, so handle such kind of situation, we will use the nested try and catch block. How will we use this one? So suppose that in our first try and catch block, suppose that this is our first try block. Okay, so what will happen? Suppose that I am writing here like this out. I'm writing, suppose that I'm writing like driver dot find element by find the element by id. Okay, so here I first I'm trying to find the element by id. If element is not findable by the id, then what I will do, I will use again a new method. exception E means I will perform a task by exception spelling mistake. I will perform a task by one way. If it is able to handle this one, then it's okay. Okay. And if not able to handle by this one, then we again use the try block here, and then again we will move on the catch block. Okay, in this way. So exception E2. Okay, so now I'm saying that find the element by the X path. Okay. Now suppose that we still in a doubt that whether it will be found or not by some. So we will again use this one exception E3 by the yes. So what will happen actually? So this is the basic use of the nested try and catch block. So your code will start from top. Okay. So first of all, it will try this one. If your element is able to find by this ID, then it's okay. Otherwise, your code will not get fail. It will come to the catch block, and then he will again try to find out your element by some other locator like XPath. Now again, it will move to the if it is able to find by XPath, then it's okay. Otherwise, again it will move to the next level, and again it will try. So such to achieve such kind of scenario where a multiple condition occurs, we can use the multiple try and catch block. Okay, so you can say that it is appearing here. Okay, so this is the main use of the try and catch or nested try and catch block. That's why I have covered. Now let's move to the next topic, like finally block. Okay, so let's move on the finally block. Give me 1 minute so that I can tell you that in my previous class I have discussed about the scanner class. Let's take one more example of the scanner class. Okay, suppose that there is a scanner class, and scanner class we use to cover take the input from the user. Okay, so suppose that this is a scenario like this one. The scenario like this one, like a system dot in. Okay, now you are taking the input from user, but you don't know whether user is entering the valid value or not, whether the user is entering the invalid value, whether exception may appear or not. So in this way, to handle such kind of situation, we will use some multiple catch block. How? Suppose that I am saying that without enter your name. Okay, so it may happen that user do not enter. It may happen that user enter the wrong name. So I am trying to explain that why we use the multiple catch block with the try block, and how we can use the multiple catch block with the try block. Okay, so suppose that there is a string str is equal to string dot, and I will using the next to store the string. Okay, so now we know that uh, exception will appear, which exception may occur if we try to find out the length. For example, okay, for example, I am thinking that exception may appear whether if your user is entering the valid value or not. So suppose that I am saying, so in this case, in such a case where we are not certain that which kind of exception will appear, we will use multiple uh, catch block. Okay, so how we can use the multiple catch block? Always remember, if you are using the multiple catch block, then in each catch block exception should be defined differently. Okay, suppose that here I am taking that exception E. Okay, and I'm saying that this out control space E. So in the each catchy block have the different kind of exception like null, pointer, exception, any. Okay, so in such a scenario where you don't know what the inputs will come, whether the exception, which kind of exception may appear, whether it is arithmetic or something, so you can apply that multiple catch a block with a single try block. Suppose that you want to add one more catch a block like a catch block with a arithmetic exception. Okay, so you can also implement here like a arithmetic exception A. Okay, so whatever user will do, appropriate exception message will be printed out. Okay, so this is the way that you will perform the exception command. Okay, here exception will not appear because I am giving the name. So in what I'm trying to do, that I'm trying to explain that how you can implement multiple cache block with the try block when there is a such kind of scenario where we are taking the input from the user. User may enter the invalid or any invalid value, so that exception which any kind of exception may appear like arithmetic, null pointer, number format, a lot of exception may appear. Okay, so in this way, what we will do, we will cover the all kind of exception. Okay, so like you can say int x is equal to integer dot integer dot parseInt str. Okay, now let me run this one. So you can see the appropriate exception will appear. Okay, so you can say that it's not in arithmetic, it's not in null pointer, but all the exception class can be come with the single keyword. Okay, so this kind of exception, this is the most benefit use of multiple exceptions. Okay. Multiple catchy block for multiple exceptions. Okay, now let's discuss much more about the final keyword. Okay, so suppose let it remain as it is and let it remain as it is. Okay, so what do you mean by the finally? So always remember, final, which we have discussed in my previous class, is a keyword which do not allow you to, you can say, change some variable value, which do not allow you to override the method, and which do not allow you to inherit the class. Okay, but here the finally is a block of code. What is the use of finally? Suppose that there is some operation. Okay, let me remove this one. Okay, suppose that there is some operation that you want to perform. Okay, so there is for example, I am taking a very simple example. Suppose that a task can be done by two ways. Okay, so suppose that one way to complete the task. So there is a one way complete the task. So you are putting it in a try block. If task will not completed by the one way, then you will use the second way to complete the task. Okay, so you will take the second way to complete the task. For example, there is a task that can be done by two ways, and also so you will apply both the ways like this one, like one way to complete the task, and for the second way you will write the code inside the cache. And after completion the task, you want to print a message like a task completed. Okay, so so cover this kind of scenario that you have to print the message when the task will get completed. You have to write the same code at both the place. Okay, so you have to write the same code at both the place. So you have seen there is a code of duplicacy of the code will appear. Okay, so if I will run this one, exception will appear, but your, you can say, this message will be printed. Okay, whether exception appear or whether do not exception appear. So what I am trying to do actually, I am just want to execute my this line whether exception appear or not. Okay, so instead of writing it two times, it's a good idea to use a finally block. What the finally block will do, so whether exception appear or not, whether it is getting pass or fail, so whatever you are written inside the finally block is spelling mistake, it will be executed. Okay, so instead of I am writing here two times, I will write here this one. So actually what is the main benefit of the finally block, that it your code must be executed whether the exception appear or not, whether anything happening or not. So in this way you will get the, your this code will be executed. Okay, whether, so let me run this one. Okay, now one more thing about the interview purpose. Okay, what is the interview purpose? See how you will break the finally block. Okay, so this is the, all one knows that if you will enter any code inside the finally block, it will be executed. But what if I don't want to finally block to get executed? Then what will happen? So there is a method known as the exit method that we need to use. Now where you will use your exit method? Here or something here? Let's try. Suppose that I am writing here system dot exit. Can I write this one? No, I cannot write this one. The error will appear here to remove this one. So I will remove this one. So always remember, system dot exit method should be written inside the try and catch a block. Okay, so whether the exception appear or not, but your finally block will not be executed. Let me run this one. So this is the very good interview question. So you can see, but it's getting executed. Okay, so always remember when you are using the system dot exit method, use it inside the both. Okay, so if I will run this one, the exception will appear, but your finally will not be executed. So you have seen that after using the system dot exit method, your finally block will not be executed. Okay, so if you want such kind of scenario that you want to execute any code, then whether exception appear or not, then put it inside a finally block. And in such case, there where you don't want to execute your finally block, then you have to use the system dot exit method. You have to call the exit method by system class in your try and catch a block. Okay, so it was the try and catch a block. Now we will discuss about the throw keyword. Okay, and also there is a one more thing like the exception propagation. It's a nothing exception propagation. Suppose that I am not give you the brief example because it's very easy thing. So exception propagation means suppose that there is a class like a class. Okay, and inside a class A, suppose that there is a method like a public void G. For example, I am taking a small method. Okay, so suppose that this is saying that int x is equal to 10 oblique 0. So we know that the exception will appear here. Now suppose that there is another class which is extending, or suppose that there is another method like a public void h. Okay, now this method is calling the g method. Okay, now again suppose there is a one more method like a public void k. Okay, and inside this k method it is calling the g method. Okay, so when you will run your program, so it will start from g will call the, it will start from k. For example, k will call the g will call the h. Now it will call the H right here. Okay, suppose that I'm trying to explain the exception propagation. So it's a very simple. That's why I'm taking such kind of example. Suppose that your G method have some exception, but I am not calling the G method. I am creating an object of the A class like this one. A obj is equal to new A. Okay. I'm taking very simple example because it's happened very little. And suppose that I am accessing the method here K. Okay. So what will happen actually? We will calling the K will call the H. Then H will be called. Now H will call the G. Now G will execute some code and here some exception will appear. Okay, so you can say this one. So this event or this kind of structure is known as the exception propagation. Okay, so you must know about the exception propagation. When exception appear at one class or one place, and it will be followed by the multiple classes of place. So it's not much more important, but you should know. So now let's work on the throw keyword. Okay, what is the throw keyword and what is the throws keyword? Okay, so always remember that throw and throws keyword both are different. Okay, and we will also discuss about the throw and throws keyword. Okay, so what does this mean by the throw? Let me remove this one. Yes. Okay, so if I'm talking about the throw, so what does this mean? That we are throwing some exception. As in my previous tutorial, I have told you that we can handle the exception by two ways. Exception by two ways, like a try and catch a block, and or we can throw the exception. Throw the exception. Okay. So in the current till now we are just working on the try and catch a block. Throw is very little bit used. Much more we will use the throws. Okay. Much more we will use the try and catch and throws. So, but we must know about the what does this mean by the throw and where we will use. So throw basically used to you can say send the explicit exception where we surely know that this exception will appear and we will throw this exception. Okay, so you can say let me take an example. By example it will get much more clear. So suppose that I am taking uh, a scanner class. For example, I'm taking a scanner class. I'm saying that new scanner, and here I am saying that system dot in. Okay, so by this scanner class I will capture some number value like enter your age. Okay, and I am storing this value in an integer x is equal to scn dot. So there is a method to accept the integer from the user. You can use next int or whatever you want. Okay, so suppose that I am taking the input from user as a number, and I am saying that just give me your age, and I am saying that if age, let me take it as age. Okay, if age is less than 18, then I want to throw an exception. The exception will be like this one, throw new. Always remember you have to use the new because exception is a kind of instance. Okay, it's not a kind of a, you can say class something. Okay, so you can throw, suppose that I want to throw the arithmetic exception, and I am saying that inside a message you are not allowed because you are kid. Okay, spelling mistake, arithmetic. So always remember spelling should be correct, otherwise it will get error. So and then again I'm saying that else I want to show that this out control space you are welcome. So what I'm trying to do before you can say sys out Suppose that before some code, I want to perform some operation. Okay, like that. For example, I have taken a very small example to check the age. If someone is less than 18 years, then we will not allow and we will throw the exception. Okay. So in this kind of situation, we will use the throw keyword. Okay. So always remember throw will be used in this way. Like you have to write the throw keyword, then you have to write the new operator, then whatever kind of exception, whether it's arithmetic, it's a scan, you can say null pointer, whatever exception you have, you can use here. Okay. Now, so always remember throw basically used with the unchecked exception. Okay. Means a runtime exception. So I will enter my age like the 7 year, for example. So you can say that the exception will appear. Okay, now I will run it again by cleaning it. If I will enter my age more than 18 years, then like the 90 years. Okay, so you are welcome entering the room. So when such kind of scenario will appear where for a particular exception or particular condition I want to throw the exception, then we will use throw in this way. Now, but throw is not used multiple times or not much more used. Okay, but we should know about such kind of situation. Now let's take another example to use of the throw keyword. Okay, so always remember throws basically used with the checked exception. Okay, so always remember throws will be used with the checked exception. Checked means where your compiler first check whether the program have any issue or not. Okay, if have any issue, then he will suggest you to either surrounded by the try and catch a block. Either you have to use the throw keyword, means you have to throw that exception. Okay, I am taking a very small example. For example, I am having a thread dot sleep command. Okay, means it will make my system to sleep for 3 seconds. Okay, so you can see there is an error appear. If I will hover over it, so it will show me two suggestions. Either you have to use the try and catch a block, either you have to throw the exception, add throw declaration. So if I will add the throw keyword, so it will be interrupted exception will be thrown out. Okay, so this is the way of the checked exception to handle. So throw keyword is used to check to handle the checked exception. Checked exception, why I'm saying, because it is appearing at the compile time. Okay, this way. So or also you can say that the throw keyword, as the name says, throws, you can have multiple uh, exception here. Means if you want to apply some other exception like comma, input output exception, you can also have this one. Okay, this one you can have the multiple exception, but in the throw you cannot have the multiple exception. Okay, so if we try here, it was the, suppose that it was the previous example where we are throwing the exception. So you can see that we cannot apply the multiple throw keyword. Suppose that here I want to apply simultaneously arithmetic with the null pointer, so we cannot apply the multiple exception. We can either apply the one exception or another exception. Okay, but it's not in a, you can say, with the throw keyword. With the throw keyword, you can add multiple exception. Like I have talking about the thread dot sleep. So it's a kind of checked exception. So you can accept by using the throw keyword, and you can add multiple commands like IO exception. Now let's discuss about the main difference between the throws and throw keyword. Okay, finally throw, finally block, let's say multiple things. Okay, so now discuss about the throws and throw keyword. Always remember throw will be used with the only the checked exception only. Okay, now let's discuss about the throw and throw keyword. So as I told you that in the throw you cannot have multiple exceptions, but with the throws you can handle multiple exceptions. Also, the throw is used within a method. Means suppose that you have a method, so it will be used here. Okay, but the throws exception will be added with the method signature. Okay, so throw is followed by the instance. Means you have to follow with the new operator. That means it will be followed by some instance. But you can say throws will be followed by a class. Okay, and also uh, throw basically, as I told you, used to explicit throw an exception, while throws keyword is used to declare an exception. So these are the basic difference about the throws and throws keyword, and also the finally and how to exit the finally. So basically we have done with the exceptions, and in the next class we will start with the how to read and write the file in the Java, then HasMac, and then we will move with the collection and collection. So in this way we'll move. So till now, if anybody have any doubt and concern, he can or she can ask me.